One of the cool things about rewatching your training footage is that you actually get to see your movements in slow motion. Now, why is that helpful? For instance, now I'm watching my weighted jumps, and when I slow the movement down to break down every single part of the jumping motion, I get to see how the legs extend, your quads push into the ground, and as you're mid-air, your legs are pulled with force towards you to be able to land on the surface. Now let's look at the handstand. At first glance, the handstand, it's in the name, it's an arm and shoulder exercise. But the legs here allow you to keep vertical. Now, my arms, my shoulders are not fully extended in here, but what's keeping me from going either way is my legs. I'm straightening up my legs. Now I'm going into attack because this is what I'm training. But then again, the legs are what balances the body and prevents it from going one way or the other. If you did not have any control in the legs, you would not be able to even maintain the handstand, even if you had the shoulder mobility and the strength required. Maybe if you had crazy shoulder strength, you could get away with not using your legs, with just letting them dangling upwards. But yeah, it's not a pretty sight. Now, I'm not making the argument that the legs should have a priority over the upper body. I'm not really making an argument that any part of the body should have a priority over another. One could make a general statement that people should be training both the upper and the lower, and this is probably at the core of why I train full body. It's because it's very important to have a stable basis to be pushing from, and also a strong and controlled output for your energy to be stored in an exercise where legs aren't really the prime mover or anything, they're just a stabilizer, like the handstand here. Look at how I straighten my legs right now. I am actually finally contracting my glutes, and the legs are slightly off the vertical, and that is what allows my shoulders to be able to fully extend. And this was a very good example up until the end where I kind of lost it. It was a funny moment, but this was a pretty good handstand. I was pretty happy with this. Now here, I'm losing my legs a little bit. There is a bit of a banana. I really need to get the straddle checked in. Now it's a bit of a banana, and this is where I lose it, and yeah, rest in peace. Here's another example of how crucial the legs are. I finally push into the floor as I pull the slack out of the bar, and the deadlift moves nice and controlled and smooth, like unlike yesterday where I was stuck in here 150. I do push into the floor as I pull with my lats into the bar, and I'm actually able to reach this position where the legs initiate the movement, and all I have to do is stabilize the bar with my back and finish the movement with my glutes. This was a good session for deadlift, and I had that in mind. I was focusing on that. It's really important to really focus on executing the movement in the most efficient way. Every part of the body contributes in a meaningful way to the overall success of the lift. In here, front squat, I was thinking about my knees and how they have a tendency to caving in on my way up, and that was my main focus. Trying to keep my upper back nice and tight. I'm working on that too. In here, it's the usual superset with the leg raises, and I don't really speak about them much, but I believe that they do a pretty good job at helping my shoulder in stabilizing my core. This is why you don't really see my torso moving anyway, and that allows my legs to raise and lower without much swinging. Here is the back off set with 65 kilos for the front squat, and I was keeping my knees as open as I could. I'm noticing that my right knee actually has a higher tendency to cave in, something to keep in mind and work on. Now, dips are coming up, and I will find something to say about the importance of legs in exercises like dips here and the upcoming pull-ups. I don't like to bend my legs when I'm doing both dips and pull-ups because I feel weaker. I do not feel like I'm able to create as much tension in my body to be able to do as many reps with the same strength and speed. So when I'm doing them, I try to find somewhere that allows me to fully extend my body, and that in return allows me to brace totally and basically plug in any energy leaks, if you will, that a not fully tight body has when bending something or when leaving some part loose. It was true in the handstand, and it is true in upper body, in every upper body movement really. The legs are important. Keeping the legs tight allows you to do a better work overall. Conversely, but similarly, in an exercise like the Nordic curl, I would not be able to do anything if I was not contracting everything in my upper body. My torso is totally locked in. My abs are firing up like crazy. And even in the last rep, where I am actually using my arms to help the concentric motion, I am keeping my core completely engaged. And also in an exercise like the Lou raise, where you need to be able not to swing much, there is a tendency that I notice in myself as well, that when I get fatigued, I am kind of cheating a little bit with my hips, and keeping your core engaged prevents it to an extent. It's not bad to allow the lower body to kind of come in when it's needed at the end. You can get a few reps and you can get the eccentric in, and that's also good. Legs are everywhere. Ciao.